He did it. I smacked him. And I remember that a bunch of people were like, oh, right, like that I did it. His mother, who was nursing a baby, Elizabeth Joy, the youngest daughter, who was an infant, she saw me do it. So she was a few rows behind me. Of course, happened to miss all these times that this guy was picking on me. And after class, I remember, or after chapel, she flagged her husband and she goes, DJ just turned and I saw this big red mark on his face. And another one of my classmates commented, and I'm just going to say that, I'm just going to make this comment, but he said, that's the thing about white people. When you smack them, when they keep this big red mark on his face. So because I did that, I was not allowed to go to the Slentz's home. They used to do these little home trips for the good kids. And I was a bad kid, so I was not included in that. But I'll get back to that. I'm going to get back to that. I'm going to tell the story that I mentioned earlier, or why I kind of have a little bit of appreciation for my experience at Christian Life Academy. So one of the good things about being a fourth grader in an environment where like everybody else was much older, because that's how they split us up, was that we watched like a lot of these obscure documentaries. We got these really cool like math tutorials. It was all really random, right? Because these were like some of the extracurricular activities, because it was I'm not kidding when I say that these people had no business charging money for what they were doing. Like glorified daycare. So anyway, one of the movies that he showed us was The Hiding Place. The Hiding Place and it tells the story of the Ten Boom family who hid Jews during Nazi Germany in a little town known as Haarlem, Holland. And they ended up all being shipped to concentration camps, and then Corey's the only one who survived. That changed my entire life. Watching that movie and then diving into the book, and then it was a short hop from there to the Diary of Anne Frank, and then that whole rabbit hole, and that entire experience shaped so much of who I am as an activist, as an organizer. If you haven't noticed, I tend to get obsessive with things. Like the things that I really get interested in, I just obsess and geek out. And this was one of those things, to the point where he took my book, my copy of the Diary of Anne Frank. I don't know if he felt that a kid should be reading that, or if that's why he felt a kid shouldn't be reading that, or if he just did it to spite me. But I remember thinking that I thought he was going to be impressed that as a fourth grader I was reading that after the movie that he showed us, but he took it. I'll never forget that. I'm going to end with one more story that is going to, again, bring this experience kind of full circle. And you draw whatever conclusions you want. I think that it's very wild that kids had to go through what I'm experiencing, kids of my age and my caliber, especially that, parents were paying for this. But I don't necessarily look at this as just is what it is. So DJ, again, I don't know if the guy was closeted. I genuinely don't know, but like, he just could not get off of this whole teasing me, calling me gay, and again, I'm very gay now, right? So it wasn't coming from nowhere, but like, this guy, he was just so obsessed with picking on me. So I remember his dad had finally had enough. And I don't remember all the details, but he told me and my brother, to come out to the hallway, and he said that he was going to show us how he disciplines his kids. So he brings DJ out, and he told him to put his hands up on the wall, and he goes, you know the drill. So he lifts his jacket, he puts his hands up on the wall. David Slentz pulls his belt out, and anybody that has dealt with corporal punishment, that's not what I'm here to talk about, at least not my own punishment, but is that what it's called? Like when they beat you with the belt? Anybody that's dealt with that, we know the sound of the belt like going through the straps. We all know that sound very well. And so he again, rips his belt off, and like he just starts going on this guy's butt. Because again, he was kind of bent over. He put his hands up to stick his little butt out and lifted his shirt up. And me and Isaac are just sitting there like, holy shit. We look at each other and we're just like, is this really happening right now? He's literally like hitting on his kid right in front of us. And then I just remember, I genuinely couldn't tell you how many times he hit him. It had to have been like 15 or 20 times. And then I just remember at one point he goes, and this one's for lying. And then he goes even harder. And so finally he goes, now shake his hand. I'll turn around and apologize. And so he's like sobbing, and he's like, I'm sorry, Abraham, and shakes my hand. So me and my brother, we go back into the classroom, and we're like, I don't know, we're shocked. We're completely shell-shocked. Not 30, 40 minutes later, I get called back up. The teacher comes and calls me, Mr. Slentz, David, DJ's father. And he says that DJ told me that you told him that you were gay and to call him gay. And I was so completely speechless. I was like, I said, this guy just got hit. Like, you really don't know when enough is enough? Listen, if you really think that in the 4th grade I was comfortable, or especially since I had a crush on this guy's sister, like, that's all I remember, and that's all I'll share about my experience at Christian Life Academy. Marietta, I won't even touch her because so I'm not going to say who said this, but somebody said that they needed to close that school down and put that lazy woman to work. So I'll end it at that.